Everybody, it's Jeremy down here in Biloxi County, Florida, Zone 9A. I just want to take a few minutes here, December 5th, 2019, to document what I have this year so far. I started this back in February of this year. Come on and let's take a look. So what I've got here is an 80 by 80, 80 feet by 80 feet. That's about 6,400 square feet. And I've got it about 1.5 feet deep of wood chips and leaves. So what I did was I started off by gathering up, trying to go out and get wood chips. I was going around to the guys doing the Powerline pruning, trying to get them to bring me some wood chips. They kept saying they were going to bring them. Never happened. I kept going back and back and back. Finally, I got them out here. Meanwhile, before that, I was going ahead and doing what I could and getting bags of leaves off the side of the road this past spring. Once I saw the bags of leaves out there, I said, hey, I can do that. So I started loading up bags of leaves each day in the back of my service truck on my way home from work. I was getting probably 30, 40 bags a day back there. I ended up with about 600 bags of leaves back here. So what I did was I started planting the trees, and I would just pile leaves around the trees until I could get the wood chip guys. And then I started putting the wood chips in to fill the areas in, and also to cover over the leaf areas. So what I've got over here is, this is the Florida Peach Tree. This is a 1-year-old tree in the ground here. It was a 3-gallon stick when I bought it. It was probably about 4 feet or so. I basically planted it into the ground. Came up here, looked for a couple nodes going out to where I thought that looked good to me, and I basically chopped the trunk right there. You can see right here where that was the original trunk that I chopped off. It shot out of these nodes, these limbs. This little one here is one that popped up later on in the growing year. So basically it shot out about 1.5 feet. After they shot out about 1.5 feet, I came in and cut back about 6 inches, leaving about 10-12 inches of it there. Chopped that. At that point, when I cut it, I looked for a couple nodes that looked like they were going in the direction I wanted. So I cut it there. Those 2 nodes came out, shot up about another foot or so. I chopped a few inches below that, had a couple nodes that looked like they were shooting outward, shot out some limbs out of there, and I did that all around it, all these limbs coming up here to build the structure that you see here now. Once that started going on, I came in, started pruning the tops just to keep them down, to suppress the growth. If I didn't, these things would be 10-12 feet tall right now. Again, this is a Florida Peach Tree. 1 year in the ground, 3-gallon stick. This over here, this is a Sunraycer nectarine. Another 3-gallon stick. It's about 4 feet tall. Came in, chopped it down at about 2 feet or so with a couple outward going nodes that looked in a good area for me. Same thing again, let those grow out about 1.5 feet or so. Chopped about 6 inches back, leaving about 1 foot. Let them nodes grow out. Came up, did the same thing again. They came out. You can see this one here, I actually cut that off because sometimes you got to cut them off. Again, heavy pruning on the top a couple times through the summer just to keep the tree more compact and dense and promote more lower growth. But I mean, look at the trunk on this thing. Look at that thing. I mean, this thing was like the size of my pinky when I put it there. And now look at it. Look at the rootstock down there. And I'll tell you what, let's see what's down here. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, look at that fungi. Look at it down there. That's the leaves right there breaking down. And look under the leaves. I mean, look at this. Big hole there. I mean, look how wet it is. And this hasn't been watered since the end of August. And it's still wet. I do have irrigation back in here. You can see the PVC pipe right here. I've got bubblers right here that put out 1/4 gallon a minute. So I would come out and turn this on. They all run at the same time. I've got a 2-horse pump over there pumping out 45 gallons a minute out of a 4-inch deep well. That's about 150 feet deep down with about a 50-foot water table. So I would turn these on, let these things run for several hours. Sometimes, a couple times I may have forgot about it, and they may have ran half a day. That's a lot of water. 45 gallons a minute times a half a day, you add that up. Again over here, Tropic Beauty Peach Tree. You can see right here I came in, chopped it off, shot out limbs out of the nodes there. I mean, look how scrawny it was, and look how big the stock is now. You can see the rootstock down here. Same thing here. Pull it back, Plenty of moisture. No need to irrigate it. I haven't irrigated this since August. I don't need it. I think what's happened is it's done became saturated and maintaining the water. I don't have to water, I don't think. I think because of the square feet here. I think because it's 6,400 square feet square. I think that the size of it retains the water under here, as opposed to if you've got a small ring of mulch around a tree, it may dry out. But I think again, because of the size of it here, it just somehow keeps it all in. In fact, if we come right over here in the center of this 2 rows here, these are 20 feet apart, these trees. If I come here 10 foot in the center, there's no irrigation here ever. We're 10 foot away from any of the bubblers. And let's see what we see here. I mean, as soon as we dig down there, off the top cover, we can see it's already wet. I mean, just look at the needles and the leaves and stuff that came in here. This was the stuff from the Powerline pruning guys that were just doing the small pruning of the stuff that was encroaching on the power lines, which is the good stuff, the small stuff. The leaves, the twigs, the needles. I mean, look at it down there. You can see it's still pretty deep, but it has gone down quite a bit. But look at that. I mean, it's still moist, still wet. Look at that. And this has never been irrigated here, ever. Ever. We're 10 feet away from any irrigation bubbler. And it's still wet. I don't think I have to irrigate this. I think I can take this irrigation out. I haven't used it since August. Okay, so over here, this is the Florida Best Peach Tree. Same thing here again. Chop, lateral out, chop again, lateral out, chop again, lateral out, build your structure. Keep the trees low. After the winter here, I'm probably going to come in and chop these all down, probably about 5 or 6 feet. Keep them down low. I'm not going to have some big trees. The other thing I realized, I'm planting more peach trees in here this coming year. I'm not going to chop them up here. I'm going to chop them down here. There's no sense to have all this ridiculous trunk here. If I chop it lower, I'll build structure lower and have a shorter tree, which is going to be better. Over here, these are some Florida home peach trees. These are supposed to be on a dwarf fruiting stock. That's why they don't look as vigorous as the other ones. But look at these things. I mean, look at these peach trees. Look at all the fruiting spurs on these things. These things are loaded with fruiting spurs because everything you see here is all this year's growth. And we all know the peach trees only fruit on the previous year's growth. So all this year's growth will be potentially setting fruit this coming spring. So this is all fruiting wood. We're going to do some heavy fruit thinning this year. Most likely what I'll do is probably just cut some heavy pruning by just removing whole branches of fruit. So we come on over here. I do got to get some wood chips right in this area right here. A little slack right through here. It's an area that never got filled in. Didn't have any trees in here, so I concentrated on what I had. Another one of them Florida home peach trees on the dwarf fruiting stock. This over here, Navajo blackberry. I got 1, 2, 3. As you can see, this one definitely did a lot more than the others. They're semi-erect. My plan was just to put them here and let them do their own thing. And that's kind of what happened. This one kind of did all right, put off some growth. These other 2 over here really didn't put off much of anything. But I didn't maintain them. I didn't really pay any attention to them. Nothing in here has ever been fertilized. Haven't fertilized any of this, nothing in here. The only food it gets is whatever it gets from the ground that was already in there, through the leaves, the wood chips, whatever else. I also have 2 more of the Navajo blackberries over here. You can see the one here did all right, and then the one over there in the distance, not so well. This over here, this is an Anna apple tree. I did the same thing here. Came in, chopped the center main leader out, try to keep small, more compact trees. I'm hoping this year when the fruit sets on here, hopefully, that the fruit is going to maybe weight the branches down and kind of, do me something like this. I may even come in and put some weights on there or try something else. I probably should have hung something on them this year, but I got so busy, didn't really have time. But we'll see what happens. That's an Anna apple tree right there. Over here I have another Anna apple tree. Same thing here, chop the center, You can notice these trees here I have 20 feet apart. The peach trees over there are 10 feet apart. They were originally 20 feet apart. Everything in here was 20 feet apart when I started. Eventually I learned that was just way too far apart. Way too far apart. I need more trees. These trees got to be together on a system. They got to need some buddies, some neighbors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and get some more trees this spring. Pop one here in the middle so they're 10 feet apart. And the same thing down here. Down here I have a honey. This over here is a Dorsett golden. Dorsett golden apple. Same thing here. Cut the center leader out. Hopefully the fruit's going to pull these limbs down and make kind of cool looking, interesting trees here, hopefully. These are low chill varieties right here. Probably about 200 chill hours requirements, I do believe. This over here is a Granny Smith. You see it's lost most of its leaves right now, kind of going dormant. It's a higher chill hour requirement than the Dorsett and the Anna down there. This I think is about 350, maybe 400 chill hour requirements they say. But I've been watching these guys, Dave Wilson Nursery on YouTube. And out in California, and they've got apple trees out there that claim to be needing 1,000 hours. And they're getting fruit sets out there in California with 200 chill hours. So we'll see what happens. Over here, well, right here first I've got this elephant here that kind of popped up in here. So I just kind of left it. It must have came in either in the leaves or the wood chips or somehow blew in from somewhere. I don't know. And I've got this ground cover around here. Looked really good in the summer. Had a lot of nice, beautiful flowers on it, so it looked good. And I left it. It was just a living root in there. Left that. Probably going to clean that out here this coming spring when I come in here and do a spring cleaning through here and pull all the weeds out and whatnot and do my, pruning before spring. This is a Florida home pear tree. Not the best looking tree in the world, if I do say. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm going to get some more pear trees. This is another plant right here that just came in with the weeds or the leaves. Kind of grew up. I left it. Over here I've got a pineapple pear to pollinate the Florida home pear. I'd really like to get some better pears to grow here in Florida, Zone 9A. But I'm going to try to do research some varieties to figure out what may be good tasting and what may do well here. If anybody knows, want to give any suggestions, please do. Thank you. So back over here, you can see some weeds that kind of grew up. I've been just leaving them in here because it's just a living root to help build the soil. So I didn't see any need to remove them. They weren't hurting anything. You come on over here. See, I've got a few pineapples in here. I've stuck in here. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll give me some pineapples this summer. Over here, I've got some Biloxi blueberries. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 Biloxi blueberries. I got a star blueberry right here to try to help pollinate the Biloxi blueberries, even though they are self-fertile. With another variety, may hopefully give me a bigger, better fruit set. We'll see what happens. But you can see the fruiting buds on here. You can see the fruiting buds on there. I mean, it's loaded up on there pretty well. And again, these are blueberry plants I put back in here. No fertilization, no soil amendment, only layering on the top, leaves and wood chips. Over here I've got some all-star strawberry plants. Put back here in the spring. Tiny little one plant trays. I stuck 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in here. You see some of them have done better than others. And I just got these bubblers here that we're watering on here. But again, I haven't watered any of this since the end of August. This was one little plant, kind of spread out pretty decently. The other one's spread out a little bit. Not as good as some of them. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll give me some nice, delicious strawberries this coming year. But I'll tell you what, man, everything I got right here, I'm really happy with it. Really pleased with the way it's grown. I love it. I love it. I love the leaves. I love the wood chips. I love to get my hands down there and feel this stuff. I love to watch these trees grow up. I love to come in and try to prune them and shape to structure the trees that I want to get. I mean, it's just great. It's the best time. Over here, I've got a plum tree. This right here is a Scarlet Beauty, low chill variety. I think it's like 150 chill hour requirement, maybe 200. So basically, I did the same thing here. Came in, chopped out the center leader, let the limbs come out of the nodes there. Came up, chopped them again, Put out more branches, and the same thing again. And the same thing again. Now I've got these up here. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to come in and do some pruning here in the late winter before spring, probably around January, February time. Come in, do some pruning here to get rid of some of these cross branches and some of the stuff to put more light through here and more airflow. And give a little bit more room for the fruit to set and for the fruit to get sunlight and plenty of air and whatnot to produce good, delicious, boy, there ain't nothing like a good, delicious, juicy plum in your mouth. Over here I've got another Scarlet Beauty. This one looks a little better to me as far as structural wise. Chopped it again a little bit lower. If you see down here, it seems to be about the right height, about 18 inches or so. And look how scrawny that thing was. I mean, it was just a stick. See that little thing? That's how big this thing was. I chopped it, shot out. So all this wood on all these stone fruits here is all this year's growth. So it's going to be loaded up with spurs, fruiting spurs, and potential fruiting wood. I mean, there's going to be no shortage of fruit on these trees, hopefully, if all goes well. Very pleased with these beautiful trees. I mean, I love them. Rootstock down here. And again, we pull that back. I mean, look at what's happening to the soil here. I mean, look at this stuff. Roots here coming out from the tree. I mean, look how moist that is. And no water since August. I don't think I ever need any water in here. Over here I've got another plum tree. This is a Golf Beauty. There's a Scarlet Beauty. This is a Golf Beauty. This I think is probably about 250, 300 chill hours or something like that, I think. So it's a little higher than the other ones. That's probably why it's going dormant right now, trying to shed the leaves. Trying to go into dormancy right now. But you can see I chopped out the main leader. Branches come out, chop those, chop more out, and so on and so on. Trying to build up an open center, like an upside down umbrella basically. So I'm very pleased with these trees, especially those peach trees. I mean, look at those things. Look at those peach trees. I mean, those are amazing. Look at that. Look at that Florida best. I mean, just look how beautiful that looks. I've got a few fig trees over here. I got back in probably March. Now, I've never even eaten a fig before until I got these trees. I mean, I've had fig Newtons and whatnot, but come to find out, that's not a fig. So I've got right here, this is an Olympian fig. This is a black mission fig. And this one over here, that's a brown turkey fig. Now, believe it or not, all these trees were the same size. These 3 fig trees were the same size when I bought them. Back in like late February. Except for this one here, I didn't put in the ground until about a month ago. And after I did that, it probably shot from about here up to here. So this is probably new growth since I put it here in the last month, month and a half. It probably shot a few inches off of these 2 scrawny ones over here. But look at these 2. I mean, these were the same size as that. They were 1 gallon pots, 1 gallon plants. And look what this thing's done. But I put this back in here as soon as I got it back in February. And I mean, look at the trunk on that thing. Okay, look at that trunk. Look at that trunk. I mean, look at that thing. We can remember the one over there was the size of my finger. And now look at this thing. I mean, this thing is really sprouted out. And look, again, it's wet down in there, stays wet. I mean, look at the holes. Look at the holes. Look at the hole right there. Oh. Look at this. There's a hole there. Everywhere I pull back the wood chips, you'll see these holes, which is just the ground getting softer and pulling things down in there. Look at that hole. So I pull that back. You see the hole? It just goes down in there. Look at that. It keeps going in there more and more and more. So I mean, that's what's happening here. This dirt is just, the ground is just becoming softer and softer as it pulls this stuff down into it. I mean, this stuff was 1.5 feet deep when I put it here, and now this stuff here is probably 4 or 5 inches left around here, around the trees. It's a little deeper out in the center areas, but that's because that's all wood chips. It was all leaves around the trees, at least 1 foot deep, and it's gone down to about 4 inches now, with some wood chips on top that I threw on later. But this is the brown turkey. You can see there's figs still on it. I mean, it's December 5th right now, 2019, so I don't know how good quality they're going to be at this point. I've been eating them pretty much every other day until now. You can see a few here, but they just ain't quite there. Guess I could have left it a little longer. Look how dry it is. It's cold in there too. It's been a few nights here where it's been in the upper 30s here in the last week. So it may be done, but I'm going to leave them on there and see what happens. Over here, the Black Mission, plenty of figs. And this brown turkey fig over here, every one of these leaves, every node had a fruit on it. I mean, this thing had hundreds and hundreds of fruit on a 1-year-old stick, 1 gallon stick in the ground. Over here, the Black Mission, same thing. Every leaf had a fruit on it. I mean, look at it. Of course, they were doing good down here. I got a lot of good ones off earlier on in the summer. But they're still loaded up here. But I don't know if they're ever going to make ripeness or not. And here's one right here. It's kind of soft. I'm going to try to leave it on there a little longer. Just to see what happens. What's this over here? Here's one right here. It's not bad. I mean, it's not good like the other ones were, but it's not bad. Better than a Fig Newton. Not bad. Okay, so that's basically what I got here. But like I said, I don't think this ever needs irrigation now. I think it's because of the size of it. I think because it's 80 by 80, 6,400 square feet, I think it just holds the water in. I mean, look at it. Even if I come over here where there's never been any irrigation, look, as soon as I scrape back the top cover, it's moist, it's wet. I mean, look at it. I mean, look at it. Look at the internet connection. Look at the fungi. Just look at that. It's the same stuff I see when I dig down by the peach trees over there, and I see this growing right in with the roots. So you know we're doing something right. But look at this, down under there. Look, here's the dirt. I mean, just look at it. And this area here is 10 feet away from any bubbler. This has never been irrigated. And it hasn't rained here in weeks. So I don't think I need to irrigate this anymore. In fact, I think I can take this irrigation out of here. I've got most of it capped off now anyway, as you can see. Like these fig trees here. I've already capped these off. I didn't need that water. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here this spring and I'm going to plant more trees through the centers here. I've got so much more room in here. Now that I realize about 10-foot spacing is what I'm looking for. So I think what I'm going to do is do that, and I'll probably come off of these lines here and pop bubblers to these new trees, cap off the ones I have here now, and just use this to establish the new trees that are coming this coming spring until they get established in, and probably remove it all together. So I don't think I need it. I mean, look at it. So that's what I got so far back here. I've also got another subtropical area over there with a lot of different varieties of mangoes, all grafted. I've got a couple different avocado trees over there. I've got a few lychees, a few longans, a few different varieties of star fruit, bananas, a lot of citrus trees over there, and some other stuff. I'm going to make another video probably tomorrow to show that. If you guys like what you see right here, you may want to subscribe, maybe like the video. If you subscribe, then you'll be able to see what happens here in the future when I make more videos coming in to show the end of the winter pruning before the springtimes come, when I prune these trees back. And then when the fruit comes on and the fruit sets, make videos showing that, and I'll make videos showing how to thin the fruit set to get the bigger, better fruit. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.